college football is about to start tonight. We got the Imitation Canes Bowl between the Florida Gators and Utah Utes, two wannabe Cane programs. Utah, for years, has been trying to claim that they're the real U. I've seen them win 2 games on national television, and they're a joke. I don't know what their biggest win is because they play at 3 o'clock in the morning on ESPN too. They play like Hawaii at 3 in the morning. And we know the Gators are Imitation Canes because they just came out with their sorry streaming documentary, which was a complete ripoff of the U. That's sad, man. These boys going out sad, trying to ride the coattails of the U, trying to make Imitation Billy Corbin, who's had 2 electrifying documentaries, multi-award-winning documentaries, both of the U and U Part 2, both premiered after the Heisman Trophy ceremonies, to huge audience numbers, off the charts. They're 2 of the most watched 30 for 30s of all time. And then the Gators come out with this weak-ass stream that somebody uploaded to a server that doesn't even, I didn't watch it, but I know that it doesn't really hammer Urban Meyer, Aaron Hernandez, Chris Rainey with his text to his girlfriend right out of the Halloween movies, "Time to die." And just, it's sad. The boys going out sad, trying to be Imitation Canes. But I'm fired up for college football. I'm going to watch tonight. I'm going to get 50 wings and crank it up. Pre-partying probably starts by the pool around 4 p.m. today. I just want to get this podcast uploaded. A few things that I wanted to talk about before the season officially starts, especially as it pertains to the Canes. Last night or the night before, I was listening to Hurricane Hotline on 560 WQAM, and they had on Don Bailey Jr. and Joe Zagacki, the voice of the Hurricanes. They've both been through so much. Alex Dono was, I think he was the co-host of the show. They were guests. I don't know. Zagacki and Dono were the hosts, and Don Bailey Jr. was the guest or something like that. Anyway, the questions, they asked a few good questions, and one of the questions were, what are you most worried about for this upcoming season? And Dono said uncertainty. You just don't know what the coaching changes and the roster turnover is going to do, and that's a valid point. Dono is an excellent host of Locked On Canes. I try to catch it every morning when I can, and it's just a good show. He's tuned in. But then Don Bailey Jr. had a kind of a downer answer, and he was like, injuries. My biggest worry is injuries. If TVD goes down, if Leonard Taylor goes down, if Colby Young goes down, the season's over. We just don't have any depth. If Matt Lee, the center, goes down, it's just going to be a bad year, and it's just too doom and gloom for me. That guy just really brings a negative. And then they ask Zagacki, I don't know how old he is, but he's getting up there, and they asked him what his biggest worry for the season was. Get this. He says the players changing their jersey numbers. I guess Corey Couch and James Williams and a few other kids changed their numbers. I don't really care about the numbers. I don't go to the games because the game is superior on television. That's not debatable. The only people that should be going to the games at the stadium are current students, which of course that's fun. You're young, you're in your early 20s or whatever, go to the stadium and get crazy. Family and parents of players and band members, like it's fine for them to go and wear matching T-shirts and stuff, especially like if your kid plays the sousaphone. You morons probably think that it's a tuba, but it's actually a sousaphone. And the parents are so proud. You got to give it up for band parents that travel to away games to watch their kid play 3 out-of-pitch notes. That's dedication. God bless band parents and parents of the players that sit with matching shirts in the stands. But the rest of the experience, and you guys know this, and you probably, some of you will be embarrassed to admit it, but it's for drunks. I don't tailgate. I don't eat standing up. I don't eat sitting in gravel. I don't eat in parking lots. I don't eat out of the trunk of my car. I don't enjoy the stadium experience. I'm old, okay? It's for young people. It's for just the middle-aged guy that's just decked out in merch and all this stuff and goes there with his little tuna fish sandwiches and his, Publix brand potato chips and all. Just pass me with that. The game's superior on television. You don't have to memorize the roster to know what's going on. And you can just kick back. You can watch replays. You know who's injured. You know what's happening in the game. And it's just far superior. Sorry, garbage trucks, lawn people, lawn mowers. It's tough out here trying to get by. Well, we got games. We got the Gators versus the Utes in the Imitation Canes Bowl tonight. Tomorrow night, we got another Imitation Miami game, the real Hurricanes versus fake Miami of Ohio. Those boys tried to come on with a little bit of trash talk. Meanwhile, they don't want to talk about crying about the economy, crying about inflation, wondering when a factory that closed in 1977 is going to reopen again so they can afford to get Junior out of that chair and off that porch, bitching about the price of cereal, bitching about the price of groceries. The entire Midwest is trash. That's why I live down here in South Florida, the mega yacht capital of the world. I'm about that yachting life, that fishing life, and it's just a different lifestyle living down here in South Florida. That's why we get all the hate. That's why everybody hated when LeBron came here. I'm sure they're hating now that Messi's here. And it's just a different thing. This guy from University or Miami, University of Ohio, or whatever the hell they're called, Gabbert's younger brother. I don't even know who the older Gabbert brother is. What's he, some kind of backup on a team? I have no idea. I tend to only follow my teams, the Dolphins and the Canes, so I don't memorize rosters from other teams. But that boy got up there and he tried to trash talk a little bit. It was sad. It was sad. Oh, yeah, the real Miami's in Oxford, Ohio, and we're going to show them Friday night. Maybe they will show them Friday night. I don't know what to expect from Mario. I think the roster's improved. I think the coaching staff is slightly improved. I'm not one who thinks that one coach is particularly better than another. But I wanted to touch, on the previous podcast, I did an overall realistic expectations of what I'm expecting to see in 2023 from Mario and his boys. And it was incremental improvement on all three aspects, offense, defense, and special teams. Noticeable improvement on first down, both on offense and defense. And a better return and coverage teams on special teams. I guess we got another Australian punter. I don't know what that means. I saw that Lou Headley made the Saints roster. That's actually pretty cool. That kid's one of the best Hurricanes to leave the school in the last 20 years. He's definitely been the best player on the team for whatever 2 or 3 years that he was here, performing at a high level. It's good to see him succeed. Now, what I wanted to touch on this podcast, it's going to be quick and short. I know everybody's going to start pre-partying before college football tonight. UCF has a big game against Kent on FS1. There's some other games. I think there's an Arizona State game at 10 o'clock tonight. So college football's here. Some of you guys will probably still have to watch Grey's Anatomy or one of those murder mystery shows with that square-headed guy or whatever. I forget what they're called. Dateline, this and that. But if you can get away, if you can get control of that remote and you can actually watch college football tonight, it's going to be a great thing because the weekend starts early. If you have a job or you're a 9-to-5 or whatever, take tomorrow off, call in, make an excuse. Everyone's got a flu, cold, or virus or whatever. Just call in, take tomorrow off. That way you can just keep partying. Watch the late Pac-10, Pac-12, defunct Pac-12 game tonight and roll that right into Friday, which is basically a weekend day anyway. You know, I'm going to order 50 wings, so I should be good through both games. If I have to pick up on a supplementary 25 wings or whatever, I have time to do that again tomorrow. But one thing I wanted to touch about on this podcast was quarterback play. Now, I've schooled most of you doofuses before on quarterback play. I don't particularly like quarterbacks, not personally, of course, but I don't tend to hang out with them either. But I don't like quarterbacks as players or position roster spots because, as I've said before, they're not really on the team. Now, I'm sure some of you are rolling your eyes are thinking like, what the hell is he talking about? But listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. The quarterback is more like a kicker or a punter. He has his own coach. He's off to the side working on special things. He's got a different colored jersey on. He doesn't do all of the drills and workouts and everything that the rest of the team does. There's 80 guys that all do the same thing every single practice. Not the quarterback, not the kicker, and not the punter. So quarterbacks are weird. Quarterbacks are weird, and I'm mildly disappointed, not hugely disappointed, but mildly disappointed that TVD just coasted through the offseason. He wasn't really pushed by either of the backups, and that Mario didn't go get a quarterback in the portal. I think he's going to regret that. But let's just play it out. If the kid can stay healthy, TVD had a pretty good year in 2021 before, he was injured and out there struggling and everything else. But this is what I'm looking for with TVD under the new offense. And it doesn't matter to me really which scheme they're running. This is true for last year or whatever. You have to play fast. Okay, the quarterback needs to get the play call in and get up to the line and get the play called fast. I don't want to see him looking over to the sidelines and cupping his hands to his ears or whatever, that he can't hear the offensive coordinator or whatever, hand signals. I don't know what they're doing. Get the play in early and get up to the line. And then, unless you're trying to run out the clock, get the play off early, fast. And then it's once the quarterback takes the snap, it's 1, 2, 3, throw it. That's it. No reason to do figure eights, no reason to run around and do half moons and circles and scramble. Once that happens, if you see that happen against Miami of Ohio and they can't protect TVD for a 3-step drop, the season's going to crash. The season's going to be a complete disaster, because that probably also means that they can't run the ball. Once that third step happens and he plants his foot, that ball needs to be getting out of there. I know everyone here wants to throw 40 and 50-yard bombs or whatever and have the quarterback stand back there for 5 to 7 seconds. Get out of here with that. That happens after you have a dominating running game and the defense can't tee off on the quarterback, that they have to pause. And that gives you the extra second or two to run, 40 or 50 yards down the field and have the quarterback pat the ball or pump fake or whatever. Get the ball out of your hands quick. 1, 2, 3, throw it. Do you understand? Do you people understand what I'm saying? Leave a comment wherever you see this thing. This podcast is pretty much intended to YouTube, but I post clips and I'll share the links and stuff on X, formerly known as Twitter, and the other social medias that I have. Like, of course, I'm on Threads, but it sucks. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on MySpace. I'm on all the big social media platforms, Facebook, this and that. There's a dedicated Better Canes podcast on Facebook. I think it has 3 or 4 members, so I don't update it too much. But leave a comment on there on whether you understand what I mean by throw the ball on the third step. Of course, Roman or somebody that knows offense a lot better than me or whatever could correct me and say that they're, doing a 5-step drop or certain plays or 7-step drop or whatever. But my theory is you need to get the ball out quick. You need to play fast. And if you're going to throw the ball, throw it downfield. That sideways pass or throwing the ball for 1 yard or whatever, get out of here with that. Because all that does is keep the defense hovering around the line of scrimmage. The idea is we want to get those safeties and those linebackers off the line of scrimmage. So if the play designs or whatever are to go, sideways or 1 yard ahead or backwards pass or this and that, just miss me with that nonsense. They're not going to go under center. Roman explained that to me last year or whatever, that they're just not going to go under center, that they're going to play everything out of the shotgun or whatever, which is fine. That's new times or whatever. But even, going out of center or going out of the shotgun, as soon as that ball hits his hands, 1, 2, 3, throw it. You're going to have to throw to covered receivers. These receivers aren't that good that are on this team. There's no whatever Santana Moss or Reggie Wayne or whatever guys that can just, school a cornerback. You have to throw to covered receivers, and these receivers are going to have to fight for the ball. I mean, for the last decade, man, they have recruited some sorry-ass kids to play the receiver position. Most of them have transferred out. You can see that they're weak mentally and physically. None of them ever amount to nothing. And just run the ball. And once you run the ball, then those passing lanes will appear and you can get the ball down the field. Stop throwing short passes. I'm not saying when I say throw it downfield, I'm not talking, 40 and 50 yards every play. I mean 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards. 15 would be high. 12. I wanted to touch base on that. And with the quarterbacks and what else? I talked about Hurricane Hotline. Oh, on the previous episode, I mentioned the content that I've been consuming, Canes content that I've been consuming in the offseason. And I mentioned Locked On Canes. I mentioned Coach Coop. I mentioned the Orange Bowl boys, but I left a few off the list. One that I catch all the time on YouTube. It's a great show, which is the Cane Gang, which is hosted by Bird and Co. and sometimes has John Michaels as a host also. That's a good one. And another one that I just found maybe a month ago, which is Miami Mayhem, hosted by AO. That's another good show that I like, even though somebody on there, I think it was Anthony, picked the Canes to go 15-0. Come on. Like, I get it. You want them to go 15-0, but picking them to go 15-0, no. But it's kind of cowardly at the same time of me of not picking a number. I explained in the previous episode that I don't have a magic number of wins this year that'll make me happy. Of course, if they win 10 games, I'll be ecstatic. If they win 8, I'll be fine if we go to a bowl game and win it. But what I really am stressing and looking for in these first few games is I'm looking for noticeable incremental improvement. I cannot stress this enough. Miami could look terrible against Miami of Ohio, give up 400 and something yards and win because they block a punt and score in the end zone, which everyone will go ecstatic. Yeah, we're in the win column or whatever. But it's like, wow, did we improve in the offseason? Did any of the moves that Mario make provide any improvement? We'll know against Miami of Ohio whether these moves have improved the program, whether they'll be able to seriously run the ball, whether they'll be able to stop the run, and whether they'll be able to win the kicking game. I want to thank everybody that listened. The first episode got 100 views or 100 plays in the first 24 hours on YouTube. YouTube is my platform of choice. I'll wait like a day and then upload to Spotify, iTunes, and all the rest of the podcast places. But YouTube has been good to me. It's been my content home since 2006. So I'm going to continue to upload the podcast in some sort of video format there. I appreciate everybody that subscribes. Right now it's called the Chip Films TV, but you can find it at YouTube at Better Canes Podcast, at Better Canes Podcast. And some people were mad because there's a lot of other content on that channel. I have the maximum amount of channels allowed, so I can't really create a new channel. So I'm having to cannibalize a previously monetized channel. And maybe I'll rebrand it or whatever. If you look into the video section and the different playlists and everything, it's a music channel. But it's like a scratch pad. It's not like I'm releasing songs and albums on there. Most of it is modular synth stuff or experimental electronic noise. So I'm rebranding that channel into the Better Canes podcast channel. And I'm up for suggestions. You know what I mean? I want to get a dedicated website going. I'm slowly creating other accounts on the various social media platforms. The Spotify and iTunes, I think, got 65 plays. So now it's almost at 200 plays, the first episode, which is unbelievable. There's 200 people out there that want to listen to this, and I appreciate everybody. I'm always down for suggestions or, like I said, slowly teching into being able to take guests over phone call-in. It's just a funny thing because of sound quality and some factors go into it. Plus, I'm old as dirt, so it's, always a challenge trying to adapt to new tech. And if you want a serious chat, subscribe or follow me on at Better Canes Podcast on X, formerly known as Twitter. I still have the Better Duck channel, which is toxic. I'm not going to make the podcast toxic. I'm going to try to keep it positive for the most part. I'll be critical when I see things that need to be called out or whatever, but I'm not just going to go nuts. And I'm probably, depending on things, going to do post-game podcasts. I don't know if it'll be a full 30 minutes or whatever. It may just be 15 to 20-minute post-game wrap-ups, but right now I'm just brainstorming and keeping a little folder open with notes of stuff that I want to do. I'm not sure if a pregame podcast would be too interesting. I know a lot of people already do pregame podcasts, and that's kind of like just reading off both rosters for both teams. So that's not a big draw for me. I'll probably do a post-game, and barring any, the team just getting absolutely destroyed like the UNC game from 2 or 3 years ago, whatever, when they gave up all those rushing yards, and I had to go on and just, I don't want to imitate or copy Dan Sileo. People might not believe it or whatever, but I don't want to trash these kids on that platform. I get pretty toxic on the Twitter channel, and that's what that's for. No players should be following me on there anyway. If I do see that they follow, I try not to @ any of them or respond to comments that have players in the with their screen name in a Twitter post. That's really what that's for. I've cut down a little bit on the Better Duck page, on the Better Duck account, and I just want to get better. I want the team to improve. I want the program to move forward. I want Mario to succeed, and that's it. Hit me up on the socials. Let me know what you guys want to hear, whether you like this. I can handle plenty of criticism. I dish it out. I can take it. And thanks for listening. If you're listening this far, thanks for listening. And have fun tonight. Let's go Utes. Knock down them Gators. And tomorrow night, let's go Canes.